it takes two people to fight for a marriage. So if you're the person pushing for therapy, pushing for healing, and they just like, why you just can't forgive me? Or they don't even want to admit what they did was wrong, like Kenny mentioned earlier, they're not taking full responsibility for what they need to make amends about, then that's giving you everything you need to know about this person. It might be best for you to walk away. Because the biggest mistake you can make in any relationship is not being fully aware of the amends that you need to be made, that needs to be made. If you're not willing to make amends, you might as well just kiss that relationship goodbye. That's just how I see it.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta get blood. I'm getting
All
some blood.
right. I have a question
That's how I gotta
from
do it.
one of our viewers. And well, actually, it's a two-part question. Do men and women assign different value to infidelity regarding emotional versus physical intimacy? So I think what he's asking is, do we look at emotional
Cheating.
intimacy differently from physical intimacy when there's like infidelity? So like, would we think that, and I hope I'm understanding this correctly, do we think that when someone has emotionally cheated, do we think it's different from when they've actually physically cheated? And
For
do men and women see them differently? I think
I
that's what
think,
he's asking.
I think
yeah,
everybody sees it
I think
differently. I
that
don't think it's man and woman. I think men and women see it the same. Like I know I don't know. I can't speak for everybody, but I think mentally cheating and emotional cheating is probably worse because I think that that person made a connection with another person, and that
Mm-hmm.
connection goes deeper than physical. I think it lasts longer. I mean, you know, if you made a connection with somebody else, it can only make the physical attributes even stronger, right? But if you just made a physical connection with somebody else, that can easily just go away. You know, everybody can be physically attracted to a lot of people. You know, I think millions of women are beautiful, but that don't mean I want to have sex with millions of women. You know what I'm saying? So,
But
but
let's say
that
you do have sex with multiple women. Is that worse? Is that worse than the, let's say you had one emotional affair, like, and maybe there was some physical intimacy, but you fell in love with this woman? Do you
I
think
think that's worse.
that's worse? Okay.
Because that'll make you leave your wife if you fell in love with somebody. I mean, you can't control your feelings. You can't control who you fall in love with. Like that's just like I have feelings for this person. I'm thinking about this person every day. Like this is who I'm drawn to. So I mean, that's I mean, but like I said, physical attraction is nothing. You know, you go see
So let me
beautiful.
ask you this, and I know you can't speak for all men, but just from your own experience and the men that you have encountered, do you think that when a woman has an affair that, well, for most men it's like a deal breaker, right? Whether she fell in love or not, right? But would you see it differently? Are there some men who might see a physical relationship with the absence of like an emotional connection any better, so to speak? Well,
The
none
the
of it's good, but you know what I mean. Do they see
the
it
younger
different?
version, the younger me would just be like, yeah. But the older version of me, it's like I think women have, like you said, women are built the same way as men are. Women they cheat for different reasons, and it's just not because they fell in love. Like a lot of men think, oh, she cheated on me, she had to. It's got to be some emotional connection or something like that. But no, sometimes women make mistakes too. Women make mistakes. Women are vulnerable at times. Women can get seduced. Women can fall for temptation just like men. And I think a lot of men really don't think that, and that's why I think it's a deal breaker for men. Like if a woman cheats, that means, oh no, she went to the limit. She really likes this dude. She's in love. And I don't think
Mm-hmm.
that's the case.
Yeah.
And I think women, when a man cheats, I think it's easier for a woman to forgive because in their mind, he don't even like her. He just did some stupid stuff. He just had sex with a woman. She ain't nothing to him. And I think that's why a woman is easier to forgive a man than a man to forgive a woman. So yeah, that's what I believe.
I
Well,
I
I do
think.
want
Oh.
to. 1 second.
Mhm.
Somebody in the comments says women have to have a connection before they cheat. I think for a lot of women that's true, but like Darren was saying, that's not always true.
Yeah, I
And
used to think
Ken,
that.
you were
It's
going to
not.
say
It's not
something, and
always
then
true.
yeah,
I was gonna say, for me, I know he asked the question, like, I think generally that because of socialization, you do have a difference along gender lines sometimes on how certain genders view, you know, certain types of cheating or whatever. But for me personally, it's not even about the to the extent that it's about the type of cheating is the health concern for me, right? Like, because I think that if you're supposedly in a committed relationship, then you should have the peace of mind to, because probably you're not using condoms, you're not, you know what I'm saying, with your spouse, especially you married, whatever. So I think you should at least be able to have the peace of mind to feel like your health is not at risk. I think that's supposed to be one of the benefits, is that you don't have that concern. So to me, that's the only difference between the two. But other than that, to me, it's more about the dishonesty and that thing, right? Because it's like it could be anything. You know what I mean? So it's like, does it really matter? Like I say, outside of the health differences between if somebody's physically cheating versus emotionally, whatever, if you just take that part out of it, it's essentially the same thing, because they still lying and, you know, doing all of this stuff. And like, that's the bigger problem. So it's like that, it just breaks trust. It's not even about, to me, it's not even necessarily about the act of the cheating. You know what I'm saying? It's about the lying. And then so it's like, how do you trust that person? Like, how do you trust anything that they're saying? Now, like, how do you decipher to be like, oh, this thing is true? I remember this other time they told me this thing, but it wasn't true. But now this, like, how do you, that's the part that I feel like drives you crazy. Like, that's the part that's the part that I feel like is the most difficult to get past, right? Because if you have
Exactly.
and they
Yep.
like look you in the face and they're like, oh, I'm going here, and you find out they was all over somewhere else, and so then it's like from then on, it's like, or they like, oh, this person is Bob, and you find out it's Barbara. You know what I mean? And it's like, why are you
Right.
lying? You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, so you just a bold-faced liar. And so it's like, to me, that's the bigger problem, rather than like how and what and when and all of that. It's just like,
Exactly.
oh, so you just don't, you just lying.
It's the core behavior, just like Cannon is saying. Like, you know what Garfield and Tom from Tom and Jerry got in common? They both cats. It doesn't matter if one blue and one orange. They both cats. So it doesn't matter if you texting the girl and y'all having this email, Facebook, text relationship versus if you slept with somebody one night. Like, it's all like dishonesty. It's all disloyalty. It's all lying. It's all cheating. Like, I think people create levels to certain things to either justify what they're doing or to not make the scene hurt as bad, you know, and not to have to deal with certain consequences. Oh, it was just one time, or you don't know her, or it was a text. Like, why people do stuff like that to minimize their behavior, exactly what I just said. So if I minimize my behavior, that means there's a certain level of accountability I don't even have to face up to. So it shouldn't even matter exactly all the details. It's like what you learn in school about, my educators know, it's what you learn in school about the main idea or the context clues of a passage. Like, you can read two different passages and they got the same main idea. It's the same thing. Whether you're lying about where you're going
leading up to the act. I think it's all about the process leading up to the act of infidelity.
Yeah.
Like the flirting. You're potentially giving away something, and I don't want to make it seem like
energy and effort that you're taking away from your main relationship. We don't have infinite energy. That's what people don't be like, we don't have infinite energy. So whatever wherever you're taking that energy, even if it's a little piece and putting it over there, you're taking it out of your home and you're putting it elsewhere where it don't need to be, when it's already hard enough to be in relationship.
Exactly. There are no amounts of levels. We
So what?
invented that to justify. There are no amounts or levels. We invented that to justify and minimize our wrongs, so that we can either A, continue doing it, or B, not have to deal with all the consequences that we have to deal with when it comes to unfavorable behavior.
Yeah, Sharice, what were you gonna say? You were finishing up
No, I
something.
said it's the process that leads up to the infidelity that really, when you think about it, it's those moments, because when you think about like moments, I know as a spouse, we have certain moments, and then you could be wondering, did they have that moment too, or
Mm-hmm.
it's just certain type of behaviors that you can't, certain things, certain conversations, certain behavior I can't share with another. That belongs to my husband. It's, I don't know if I'm explaining it the right way,
No,
but
I think I
I get
understand
it.
it.
I
I
get it.
think I understand exactly what you're saying. Because for me, it's like the same thing, right? To me, it's like I wouldn't want another person. Like, to me, I feel like that's disrespectful to my husband. Like, even if
it's
it's
territorial.
just, yeah, even if I just feel like it's just between me and this other person, I wouldn't want that other like, to me, I feel like then that other person can look at my, to feel like they got a one up on my husband, or look at me crazy. You know what I mean? To be like, oh, well, she don't care about him, or I'm more important, or whatever, like it just make me look stupid. You know what I mean? I feel like, it's just, it's showing a rift. Even if, like, sometimes I feel like we compartmentalize things. So it's like we have like, oh, this is this relationship over here, and it's not, but it all does, it's all one thing. But sometimes we compartmentalize it in a way. And I think I understand exactly what you're saying. It's like you wouldn't want to put yourself out there, and it's like you kind of got your spouse looking crazy, right? Because it's like, what kind of wife are you if you entertaining this guy and he know you entertaining this guy? You got a whole husband right here, and you probably, posting your Facebook pictures and, oh, my husband is, and you talking to this dude like, hey, sexy, what's up tonight? Like, that just looks stupid to me. So I agree.
Yeah, it looks like your game. Like that's like an open door.
And another thing, like I just want to share this. Like, people think it's an easy transition from being single, dating whoever you want, talking to whoever you want, how you want to talk to them for all these years, and then when you get in a relationship, it's supposed to just be like, I know how to turn that off. Now I know how not to just have casual conversations and stick to boundaries with other people. So, because for a long time, me and my wife had the darndest disagreement. Like, I just thought like I was just being faithful. And like she said, our cheating is different. So if I was talking and communicating with an ex, in her mind, I'm cheating. In my mind, I'm like, this is my friend now. And we had to go to counseling for this and everything because of course we want to make it work, and I had to get on the same page with my wife. So I had to realize like we have to get on the same accord when it comes to cheating. It's just not sex, it's just not kissing, it's just not physical. And I think that's how most men look at it. Like, I didn't touch her, I didn't kiss her, I didn't have sex with her, I'm good, And it got to a point where I was like, well, dang, I can't talk to nobody. But it was just my behavior that I was just dealing with, like how I communicate I was crossing boundaries that wasn't okay for my wife. And when you keep doing that, and a woman is telling you like, I can't, that's something I just don't want to deal with, and I don't appreciate it, and you keep doing it, that's cheating. Like, even if you don't think it's cheating, if that person feels like they're being cheated on, that's a feeling that you have to address and that you have to fix. And if you're not willing to fix it, then you're just not you're just going to keep doing it. And I think people need to understand that, like, it's just not a switch that you can just turn off and be like, yeah, I'm good, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. You have to really sit down and like be intentional with how you act, talk, even look at women sometimes, like compliments you give them. And it's hard to do, because sometimes it's just casual conversation that you don't, and sometimes I used to forget I said stuff like, oh, you said this stuff. I'm like, when did I say that? What are you talking about?
But
I'm like,
that's
oh God,
kind of like a
and
great,
it's hard. So
for me. Go ahead.
yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think both parties has to have patience coming into it. And I think a lot of people don't want to, they always want to be politically correct, and I was like, oh, we have this perfect relationship. My wife or husband doesn't do that. No, it was some trouble. You don't just get with somebody and you know how to act just off top like that, to know what to say, the right things to say. You have to really sit down and have those transparent conversations with each other and be like, no, when we went out and you was talking to the lady up there and you had her laughing, I know you didn't mean nothing by it, but she was laughing a little bit too hard, and and then she touched your shoulder. I ain't like that. And it's not being jealous, it's not being insecure. It's just like you said, it's territorial. I don't want no woman thinking that, hey, I can get him. I don't want no man thinking, no, they can get my wife, because at the end of the day, you have to be comfortable with yourself, and it's not all about that pride and that ego. Like, you have to be vulnerable and be like, hey, I didn't like that. I don't care if you think I'm jealous, you can think what you want to think, but at the end of the day, I need to go home and sleep how I need to sleep. So I don't want you doing that, And I think a lot of people just think they can just get in a relationship and think just because what they say is not cheating, that's what the cheating is for the relationship. And when you get in a relationship, it's a whole different ball game. What your rules don't matter no more. Y'all have y'all own set of rules now.
You have to accommodate my emotions, basically.
Yeah.
But so I'm imagining there's a bit of a gray area though, because sometimes men and women get into relationships and they have been hurt from previous relationships, and it makes them not as trusting, and things that could be okay may not be okay for them, but it's stemming from hurt or a place of distrust. And let's say it's not stemming from hurt or a place of distrust. What if it's just, when does it become too controlling?
I think that it goes back down to, like I say, about the transparency piece, right? For me anyway, like, I've always just been very much, I just need to be able to trust the words that you say out of your mouth, and then I'm cool. Like, I think that that's the issue, because like he say, I don't think you always gonna come together and be on this one page all the time and view things the exact same way or whatever, or you're not even gonna make bad choices or whatever. But as long as there's transparency, I think that makes a big difference. I think a lot of people run into issues when they can't trust their partner, and I think a lot of it has to come from just not being transparent. And I think a lot of people don't think like lying by omission is lying. You know what I mean? They think, oh, I didn't lie because I didn't come and outwardly say a lie, but I just didn't tell you something, right? Like, that's still a lie. You know what I mean? So it's just
that's another thing I have to work on.
See, a half a truth is a lie. A half a truth.
Yeah, And so like therein lies the work. I think that some people can be, there is a possibility that you do have some people that are super insecure, all on their own. And they may have had experiences and they can be jealous and ridiculous. But I think a lot of times, in more instances, it has a lot to do with the current relationship and the trust levels between those two people. I think that the other part is like kind of on the extreme bit of it, but I think most people, those type of issues come as a result of how those two people are interacting with each other.